130 exemption. And to council, what sort of evidence would council expect to receive to prove that a dispensary existed as a medical marijuana dispensary, and that's all in capital letters? There's no such thing in our code at this time, prior to January 1st, 2008. So would you say that, let me just give you a hypothetical question. I've been selling marijuana on a regular basis to people who need medical marijuana. I think that'd be a pretty stupid thing for me to be saying to you or to anybody who's in a position to take that as evidence for the obtaining of a permit.
Right. But we already have at least 3 businesses in the county who said they are selling medical marijuana. If you want to step forward and have a dispensary and follow this under the ordinance for the protection of it, then you're going to need to provide us with information that shows that you in fact have been doing this in the past.
And the county is prepared then, having received that information, when there is a federal movement to deal with this activity, to provide counsel to the individuals who have in good faith provided this information?
Are we prepared to receive it from the individuals? Yes. What happens after that is anybody's guess. This is all new territory. We don't really understand.
Well, I know it's all new territory, but I find here that there was some reference in previous discussions about the giving evidence against oneself with regard to, I think, maybe county council can clarify this, but any evidence that I would need to provide you with, and I've been operating a small MD medical marijuana dispensary, would be akin to saying that, yes, I have been violating federal law. I have been engaged in activities that elsewhere in the country have been dealt with. I find it very, very strange that the county would be sitting here right now offering to be complicit in such an activity, and in fact encouraging anybody in good faith and without a whole lot of legal savvy to set themselves up for, thanks to the county's exemption, that may exempt you from a lot of trouble, from avoiding a lot of trouble. And I understand the intent. I understand the intent. But to me, it seems here that in order to try to give some standing to what has been reportedly in place, under what circumstances, I have no idea. Under what authority, I have no idea. But I'm disinclined to grant any exemption, period. But I'm also uncomfortable with the idea that this is being granted on the basis of verifiable evidence.
But the people applying for the exemption are in no different position with providing the county information and those simply wanting to apply for a medical marijuana dispensary in the same thing. They're all submitting application and information that they want to sell marijuana, medical marijuana in this state. In order to enforce that, in order to ensure that people have safe access, the county has been trying to craft something that will at least legitimize it as far as local and state laws are concerned. And by giving this information, we're not requiring them to give the information. We're just saying, if you want this permit, this is what you have to give to us.
All right.
If you want the exemption, you have to do the same thing.
All right. That takes us off in a different course. I'll yield time here.
Okay. Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Pinches.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd certainly be interested in what the people in the audience have to say, but presently we have 2 ordinances from us. One bans marijuana dispensaries in the county, and the other one limits it to not only 3 in number, which in my opinion is totally unsatisfactory. That's very discriminatory, especially to the rural communities of Mendocino County. But when you actually look at section 930.150C, when it says a dispensary shall not be allowed in the following areas, when you take away all of those restrictions, it's kind of like a banana. Once you skin it and throw away the bone, there ain't a hell of a lot left. You know, and there's really no areas left in some of these rural communities to place them there under this proposed ordinance. So, to cut to the quick, Mr. Chairman, I can't support any of these. This is an affront, in my opinion, to Prop 215, which provides for medical marijuana for patients. And it's there's no way, in my opinion, that a person wanting to open up a marijuana dispensary could weave in and out of this regulatory process. So basically it tells nobody you can't really do it, especially you might be able to do it in towns like Willits or Ukiah or Fort Bragg, but not in the little communities like Covelo or Laytonville. It just totally eliminates. You can't be close to our zoning, you can't be close to a school or a church, and a lot of these town centers aren't, they're all within 500 feet. So anyways, I think the dispensary ordinance, this affronts Prop 215, and I can't support any part of it. I do support, which under law, a dispensary has to pay sales tax on a product, just like a pharmacy has to pay sales tax on their products. Those laws are all in place. If you want to do a retail business, it has to be in commercial zoning. With outside of that, you have to go to a use permit. We have those laws already in place. Treat it the same as if somebody wanted to open up a drugstore or a liquor store. How many locations we have in Mendocino County where you can buy alcoholic products? A lot of them. I just think this is just a total affront to Prop 215, and it's the intent of the people when they passed 215 was for them to have access to medical cannabis, and I support that, and both of these ordinances don't. So,
Thank you for your comments. Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also really want to hear from the public soon so we can take that under consideration before we take any action.
Yes.
One question I have in Section 9, this is to Council 9.30.130 exemption. If Council could address number 4 there.
9.30.15C5?
Correct, because I'm looking.
That appears to be a mistake. I just caught that as well.
Because I'm looking here and I don't see 150C, number 5.
I think what we ended up doing was simply taking it out of the ordinance.
So we would strike number 4?
It was taken out previously, so the fourth exemption under 150, under 130 should be removed.
Okay, so strike number 4 under Section 9.30.130.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any additional comments from the board before I go to the public comment? Okay, seeing none. I'll call your name and call the person who's on deck behind you, and please keep your comments at 3 minutes. The clerk will announce with a hand waving of a flag a 2 minutes 30-second notice, and at 3 minutes please finish up your comments, finish up your sentence, your statement, and keep to that as close to possible. So first commenter, Jim Rickle, followed by Lisa Gygas.
Good afternoon. Jimmy Rickle, local citizen, Studio